All right, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Come on, how you guys doing today? It's like 60 degrees in the middle of November, December, right?
Right. Yes, doing good.
My name's Cardinal Cowboy. Some people know me as the Cardinal Cowboy. Anybody see me at the Cardinal games? Do the fun stuff that we do? Usually a few people in the crowd. How many people here are Cardinal fans? Everybody, they're all over here. Cubs? Non-baseball fans? Okay. If you were Cubs fans, I'd have to just never. But I'll give you the quick kind of summary of what I do. I think Tiffany's probably told you a little bit. That's a great pick. That's me on the field at Busch Stadium for a charity event. So a lot of people wonder where this came about. And what I like to share with people is not necessarily what caused it to come about, but that's something that people can learn from, but also what I've learned from doing it. It kind of gave me some rather exclusive access to things that most people never get access to because you're not in that kind of position, because you're not in front of the right people at the right time. But that's what I talk to people about, is getting yourself that kind of access in front of those kind of people, doing the right kinds of things. And it's not even deliberate. It's just really a matter of do what's right, help people, put yourself out there, and you'll get some incredible results. You sit around and complain about it all day, and what didn't happen, and what isn't fair, and how didn't go your way, you're going to be stuck there for life, right? How many people know people like that? So the truth is, back when I was 19 years old, I was going to college. I had just won the same award as a guy. Anybody heard of David Freese? Okay. Ryan Howard? Okay. Diehard Cards fans are like, duh, yeah. But David played in the same league I played in. I'm a little older than Dave, not by much. But they give an award away for SLABA, St. Louis Amateur Baseball Association, and it's right before you go to college, and some kids come out of there and go right into the minor leagues or whatever. But I won the most valuable player for my team, and then I was up to win it for the league. The guy who won it for the league beat me out and beat up each team individual had a candidate. He ended up out-hitting a guy by the name of Derek Jeter. If you guys know Derek Jeter. But he out-hit Derek Jeter in A-ball. Derek Jeter is the world-renowned best shortstop in the history of the world for the New York Yankees, if anybody's heard of them. But that's where I was at. Some people thought I might make it. Some people may have thought I didn't. I'm not 6'4", big power hitter or anything. I'm a different style player, David Eckstein type of style player, if you will. And then I'm in college, and the next thing I know, I'm in a coma. Driving down the highway, Highway 109. People familiar with Highway 109? It's out here in Eureka, pretty windy road. I was in the back seat. I was actually asleep from what I recall. Maybe it wiped out what actually happened in my memory. But we're going down the back road to Eureka High School. My buddies were going to watch the Eureka High School soccer game. We just finished a Central Methodist University soccer game that we played in. And then he went to Eureka, and I was going to come back and meet the gal she was going to come down from Bradley. I never showed up. But drunk driver hit us, out of control, spinning at us, not head on, but head on to the side of his truck. That said if it had been head on, everyone would have died. But instead, it was a little bit less of an impact. The driver of our car, Jimmy Barnes, he's on one of the pictures we got out there. But Jimmy, his head swelled, pressure, trauma, blood, and he did pass away. Before I recall, I was in a coma. But I'm actually living on the side of the road. The doctors, at that time, the paramedics, think that I'm coherent. I'm having a conversation, don't remember any of this. But started talking to them, and then I began to have seizures. Seizures are no fun. I don't know if anybody's seen anybody have a seizure. I don't recall having a seizure. Good built-in defense mechanism, right? And they said, yank the drunk driver who had hit us out of the car and put me in the ambulance. And they said, had I not made that first trip, I wouldn't be standing here today. Proceeded to the hospital, go into a coma, where they told my parents I'd have less than 50-50 odds to live or die. Not good odds. You live to function again, to walk again? No, to live or die. Proved the doctors wrong, or at least half of them wrong, right? 50-50. But they then also said that I would likely be in a state where they would at least have to take care of me for the rest of my life. So going from what some people think might be a capable professional athlete at whatever level, whether I made it to the big leagues or not, I'm certain I should have been there at some level, who knows, but you never know, and politics and everything goes involved with that. But, given the capacity I was at, but then down to somebody's going to have to take care of me for the rest of my life. I mean, would you agree that's a pretty big swing in the shift of life, right? So I literally had time after that to recuperate. I came out of the coma. They put me in a wheelchair, took me home, and told my parents, good luck. It's going to take a lot of work. I was fairly resilient from the perspective that I said, look, I'm staying in school. Okay, we'll let you go back next semester. I said, no, I'm staying in school this semester. So I missed a second week. I was in a coma for 6 days. Missed that whole week. I was in a coma. Wouldn't have been too good to show up in class for that one, right? Carter's right there. He didn't miss. No. They won't do that. The second week, I stayed back in St. Louis. Central Methodist is by the zoo, about 25 minutes of Columbia, Fayette, Missouri. And I went right back after a second week out, and then finished the semester, got grades, and along the way they said, wow, you really need to pay close attention. My friends were walking me to classes, and these are people that knew me for years, or at least months and weeks that I on a first-name basis with the people I know all my life. I went to visit my transfer from SLU to Central my freshman year. The fraternity brothers I visited that second week when I was still in St. Louis, and they're like, you didn't remember our names. And we were pledge brothers, and we were in the... But so, moving along, graduate from college on time. Not the greatest grades. Get out of college. What do you do now? Got a degree in communications, right? What's that mean? That means I can talk with you, have a good communications means, but what else do we have? Well, I figured, all right, I'm going to go to beyond that and go to the next level, grad school, right? And so I applied to Webster, because Webster won't look at your college grades at the time. At least they just say your first 2 classes determine whether or not you get to stick around. If you don't get A's or B's, you're out, if I recall. And so that just shut. I got a couple A's, and I ended up along the way, because they're talking about me, I get a 4.0. So I go from that point where I was in a coma to now where I'm going through grad school with almost perfect grade. But I was determined. For about a year, though, after the accident, I literally did the whole, feel sorry for me. This is wrong. Why did this happen? But I really began to realize after doing that for a while, that sucked. That's not a happy place to be. There's lots of people we know that are like that didn't go through a coma. For whatever reason and whatever situation they have, maybe worse from a whatever perspective, without having the support that I was fortunate to have. But I could have gone that way. But I, on my own, decided with the support, the backing I had, said, hey, I'm just not going to be the victim anymore. So that's when I proceeded, finished college, finished grad school. Then I went to work for a small brewery based out of St. Louis. Anybody remember Anheuser-Busch? They used to be based out of St. Louis, right? And they still have big parts there. They moved their headquarters to New York, I think, for a lot of stuff. But for 10 years I worked there. I got in, and I said, this may apply to anything I want to try. My big thing is try to help people understand what, life, from my perspective, what life's about, how you can still accomplish anything you set your mind to. But I walked into an interview, and I'd done a couple support things, did computer sales for a little bit, and then got in, I'm going to be the support guy, I'm tired of sales. And went into an interview, and later they told me that I didn't tell them I wanted to use my entry-level position there, and actually the second-level support. I'll tell you why second level was interesting rather than first-level support. But I didn't want to use them to get to another group, to get to the networking group, which one guy told them. I don't want to use you guys. Really? You just told us that? You're not getting hired. The other guy fell asleep, and I had Outlook on my resume because it loads with Microsoft Alphas. Let's hire this guy. But I went in, and I very quickly learned, the ins and outs of Outlook. Because I was there to support it. The reason they took me on is because I also took a test for the first level support. First level support had a test that you had to take. Well, I was self-taught. I didn't know the technical terms. And I could do the things, I could fix the stuff, but I didn't know what you called it enough to pass their test. So I failed the first level test, got the opportunity with the second level where they didn't have that. But I had enough on the resume to convince them that just finished grad school. He knows Microsoft Outlook. That's the client we use for people to get their email delivered to, and we can help our people with that. And a year and a half later, I was managing the corporate clustered email servers. And all because I just stuck with it. The big thing I talk to people about is I don't really think I have any special ability. As a matter of fact, some of my friends would say, Carter's darn near, doesn't have it all the time. And we all have situations. We're not experts with everything. But the big thing that I have that anybody really has, I guess I got done listening to Mark Cuban's Business is a Sport book. You guys, how many people are familiar with Mark Cuban? Multi-billionaire, owns the Mavericks. As I listened to this whole story, this is the second time I listened to it. I fell asleep the other night and got through the whole thing last night. Some of it I repeated, but it was literally same path. sports guy, enjoyed sports, wasn't good enough to make it in the whatever level, or a little different there, but I felt I was. But the accident happened, put me in a position where sports was not going to be where I go, but got into the computer thing. How many people are familiar with the internet? Right? What's the average age in this class? You don't have to answer that, but 23, 25. You guys have been around since the 2019, 18. I'm maybe wrong, okay. But then you're definitely, everyone here in this class, I'm trying to give you credit, but everyone in this class has probably lived with the internet as part of your life since birth, or when you were very young. I mean, effectively, the internet, my master's thesis I wrote was called The Internet, back in 1998. Anybody here born after 1980? So 20, you're all born around that area, 95, 90, 96, 97. Yeah. So you guys are 2 or 3 years old, and I'm writing a paper about how this thing's going to change your lives, and it had really become to fruition at that point. The internet now has changed, would you agree, the way we do everything from what you guys have probably seen the way it used to be done. Not that you experienced it so much when you had to hand deliver letters to places to make sure that they got the information, versus now what do we use to communicate information that we need? Email, right? Yeah. And it's to somebody, I can send a message to my friend in Wuhan, where Anheuser-Busch has a brewery. I have friends there. They get the message in, 6 minutes. How many server hops does it make to get there? You know what's going on behind the scenes, the routing servers, blah, blah. It doesn't happen in 0.2 seconds. The processor on each one, and they're connected. It takes 6 minutes maybe, or a minute and a half, depending on your connection speed. But that's how quickly now you can take a message that you used to have to deliver by pony, or by plane, or by car, and now we can do it in minutes. But it's revolutionized the way we do business. So how does that apply to people with regard to speech? Well, think about it, how you would apply that towards what you want to do, right? And if you want to be a public speaker, or if you just want to be a good communicator for a company to represent them with their product or service or their administrative tasks, and the people that are up in front of an audience have got to have a certain skill set. And that's what speech. We all should take a speech class. I think that's probably what it might be required for everything. What your degree is, because you've got to be able to be in front of people. But how can you now more easily disseminate that information? You can do your speech, and in 20 minutes, have it uploaded to where? Where would you upload a video? YouTube. There we go. And how quickly can somebody in China see that video? As soon as it's uploaded, right? Refresh. Okay, now it's done rendering, and they can watch the message that you just recorded 20 minutes earlier. But that's the way now communications and getting your message out is more effective. So I talk about a number of different things along my life that have helped me develop. Failures. It's interesting talking to Mark Cuman, because as I started my own company after I worked for Anheuser-Busch and did a couple other jobs, worked as sales, I wanted to get in the sales side of technology. It's literally, how do you, and I talk about this as a specific quote, how many baseball fans, people understand baseball? Most people understand baseball. Pretty popular sport in America, right? But they talk about when somebody makes an error, right? What's an error? There was a ball that should have been played correctly, it wasn't played correctly, play that should have been made for an out, typically, and so they give the guy an error. Well, is that player's life over after that error happened? Right? You do that 15 times in a row, your career may be over, but your life may. But life is the same way. I mean, and one of my favorite quotes from my dad is, it's not the error in the game that kills you, right? It's how you respond to that error. And I'm thinking, man, I started my own business and I've run into some major hurdles. People telling me they're going to do work for me. I pay them for it. They don't do the work. And what do? Sue them? Pay a lawyer? I'm out the money. Mark Cuban was out $83,000 from a gal he hired to manage the office, where she would white out the name for the check, who the check was intended for, put her own name on it, and $83,000 out of his $88,000 he had saved went to her instead of the people he was intending to pay. And he was stuck. The bank laughed at him when he said, sorry, fraud, what are you doing? They're like, not our problem, your problem. I think banks handle it differently these days. But I mean, that's the kind of hurdles you're going to overcome. And Mark Cuban overcame those and continued until he made it. So for me, it was a matter of, I want to be a public speaker. I want to be a leader. I want to be a successful business person. Well, working for a corporation gives you an incredible opportunity to learn a lot. And if you can rise to the ranks, that's one way to do it. as Mark Cuban said in this audiobook, he said, he's not a good employee. I began to think, maybe I'm not a good employee. I'm not so good at being told what to do all the time. And as you rise to the ranks, you get more control to tell other people what to do, right? But as a business owner, you get to do what you want to do. But now you answer to everybody, every customer, every person. But it's a little more freedom. You're allowed to do so. But the point is that the communication skills that go into that are vital. And I talk to people, one of my favorite topics to talk about to people is, how many people think what they cannot do because somebody told them they're not good enough. They're not capable. They see the skill set that they think they see in this person and tell them that they're never going to be able to do this. I mean, I think about John Travolta, who's now a world famous actor. And I saw his story one time, and his acting teacher told him he would never make it as an actor. How many movies has he been in now? Some of you guys wouldn't even know. But, I mean, that's the kind of challenge that's sometimes put in front of people. And so then the answer is, do you let it hit you? And you go, you know what, they're right. I give up. I'm just going to be average, not go after whatever I could accomplish. Or do you say, oh yeah? Let me show you. And go do it. And I agree with Mark. It was amazing listening to the same thoughts that I've had and kind of reinforced by an expert who's made billions. I wouldn't mind making billions. To me, it's a little more important to make a difference and help people. And when you have billions of dollars, you can do that too, right? To me, that's a different way to do it. But to me, it's a matter of helping people realize that, look, I was in a coma. The doctor said I was supposed to be dead. Odds were that I was not going to make it. 50-50, split even odds. Or if I survived. So I did some research. I recently got a little award they give for, it's a local community charity that I didn't realize was there. There's a lot of small charities that do great stuff, and I work with a bunch of them. But somebody had nominated me for the award for helping youth sports. I go to visit kids playing sports and try to cheer them on and talk to them about how important sports was. To me, it was baseball that helped me survive. It gave me the skill set, the ambition, the drive, that even though I wasn't the fastest, the biggest, the strongest, the best, I outworked other people. I learned how to get the edge. When I could see which direction, given the count on that batter, what the likely pitch was going to be, and that knowing that it was probably going to be a curveball on the outside of the plate, I'm going to start taking 2 steps to my left, therefore giving myself a 2-step advantage over the other guy who would be standing there still, and they think, my gosh, Carter's so fast, he gets such big range. I wasn't any faster. I was smarter. I realized the odds where it is, and if they didn't hit the ball over to my left, they probably hit it way over there, and it didn't make any difference. Rarely did they make me look bad, and they accidentally pulled the ball over my other side, and I was going this way when they pulled it. Statistically, that the odds are slim that happen. But those are the types of things you give yourself to study any situation. And again, what Mark Cuban was talking about was he didn't become a billionaire because he has some brilliant intelligence. He worked his butt off. One of the things he did, he read the manuals. How many people ever read a manual? You get your camcorder, you get your phone, you get your VC, whatever it is, and you actually read it cover to cover. So you can understand all the features and the way you set things up in manual. I've read a few manuals for like segments, for parts that I need to know about what to do, but I never read the whole thing. But he wanted to become the best salesperson to help with them. So he gave himself the resources, which is the other big thing I talk to people about. How many people, that's why I joke about this internet thing, right? You guys seen this? Catching on, right? The internet now has provided a resource for anybody. If you don't have the information, how long is it going to take you to get it? And if you don't have it because you didn't go after it, that's on you. You've got the other people around you, and the truth is, from my perspective, most people don't want to take that little extra effort to do that. But one of my favorite quotes that I have from my dad that I use, it's not from him, but it's from somebody famous that he gave me one of these plaques that said it. And this is what's it take to be the best? What's it take to be better than everybody else? And the quote is, excellence is achieved by doing a little more. Not doing 10 times as much, but by doing a little more so that you have the edge over everybody that's out there. And I learned that from baseball. That's why I espouse that the Cardinals baseball effectively saved my life. Because statistically, when I got this little award, I decided to be prepared for this. They told me, I was like, okay, this is kind of neat. I'll show up, do my thing. And then they said, last year we gave that award to a gal by the name of Jackie Joyner-Kersee. I was like, oh, you mean the best female athlete in the history of the world? Was the one you gave it to last year. And this year, I better prepare for the speech. I better do some work. This is kind of neat. So I wanted to be, and so I researched the fact that what's the true impact, the statistical breakdown for people who've been in a coma. Anyone here been in a coma? I'm going to start asking that for every speech that I give because I want to meet somebody else who has been. And now I'm looking at, well, what are the odds that happens to somebody? Very slim. I should look that one up. It's on the internet. I'm being lazy, not kidding. But what are the statistical odds you're going to be in a coma? 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of 1,000,000, whatever that number is. I was more interested in saying, what is the recovery rate for somebody who's been in a coma, right? So here's the breakdown. I'm going from the memory I have from studying this a couple times. But depending on how long you're in a coma, just anybody in a coma, 90% of the people that go into a coma have some permanent disability. You might say, Carter, you've probably got a couple disabilities still hanging on there. My friends tell me that. But we all have some problem in life that whatever, we're not good at it or whatever. But I mean, to go through a coma kind of put me into something I didn't necessarily choose to be in. But 90% of people have some permanent disability. Of the 10% that don't have a permanent disability, 2/3 of them either mild recovery or a fair recovery. Or, I'm sorry, they said a good recovery or a fair recovery. How many people come out of that situation with a full recovery? Not to say that I haven't made a full recovery. It always affects you. But the doctors certainly didn't believe I was going to be able to finish college or grad school or manage the email system for the largest brewery in the world. But I was determined and not going to let what happened to me stop me. And we all go through issues. Everybody here is going to have something in their life that's going to cause a problem, right? You've already had dozens of problems. You know, I joke about a gal I know. She was upset and worried that her dog was going to pee on the floor, and she had to get back to make sure that happened. When she had an opportunity to go to an event where there was all kinds of high-profile people that I was getting invited to go with, and I was like, maybe you should just go take care of the dog because it's going to keep you from meeting some pretty high-profile people that they could have met. But their priorities were a little out of whack, and they felt as though the dog issue might cause them more problems than what it was worth to go to this event. So we prioritize. And where's our real issues at? What are the real problems in life that you need to deal with right now versus the little problems that are going to pretty much take care of themselves you need to address, and you need to stay focused on what's going on. So I talk to people about it's not the air that kills you. Another one of my favorites is, and this is one I use all the time too, another one from my dad, I believe. I think this is Henry Ford. We have to look at who originally said it, but it doesn't matter. The point is, how many people heard this? But if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you are 100% correct. Does that make sense? Because psychologically, if you're going to go into any situation believing you're going to fail, and I equate this to the other thing that I've decided to set as a goal, but it was the one that had the most direct physical impact. So the career's over as a baseball player, not going to happen. But I was still bent on making it as a professional athlete. And not necessarily that I thought it was for sure going to happen, but I gave myself the resources. I found that there is semi-pro football all over the country. Grown men, full tackle, full players, NFL rules, full field, 6 referees, the whole deal. 400 people in the audience instead of 40,000. But all the rest of the rules were the same. And I went out and I kicked a 51-yard field goal. And the referee was also associated with the Rams and said, hey, would you like to try out with the St. Louis Rams? Why do you think I'm here? Heck yeah. So I was offered a tryout with the St. Louis Rams. And then they fired the coach that actually offered me the tryout, Bobby April, who went off to Buffalo and became special teams coach of the year again. So was the issue the coach or was it the players? And it's easier to fire the coach than it is to fire all the players. Right? But anyway, but that was one of my goals. Then I continued and I ended up making it as a professional indoor kicker. I actually got paid, not a lot, but I got paid to kick field goals. But that was a goal I set myself. Not a big thing to impress too many people. Not too many people were terribly impressed with that. But for me, it was a goal to be a professional athlete to get paid to play a sport because I thought I was capable before the accident. And the doctors certainly thought I wasn't capable after the accident, but I proved them wrong again. And the point of that part is to give you that demonstration, but also talk about when I'm kicking field goals. And you guys can equate this to many things you do in life. And it's the point of being focused. If I'm worried about what the snapper's doing, what the holder's doing, what the line is doing, what the referee's doing, what the crowd is saying, what are the odds I'm going to make the field goal? What is my job? My job is to kick that ball, once he set it down, between 2 goalposts. That's all I should be worried about. And I found, statistically, I'm pretty good. A punter was a holder for my team when I was playing the semi-pro stuff, and he was the punter for Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got a pretty good football program. But he was the punter for Notre Dame. He was our holder. He was a great punter. I didn't like to punt. Everybody thinks punter and kicker is the same thing. A little different, whatever. He was a good punter. But he was my holder. I said, what do you think? He goes, Carter, you never miss. I'm like, kill me. When am I going to get my shot in the NFL? Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it'll. Got my minor league deal. But the reason I didn't, I believe, was because I had developed the skill to be so focused, narrow scope on what I was targeting, that I could nail down what it was. People go, what's that like having 7 guys running at you that are built big athletes that are going to try to kill you? I go, I don't know. That's not what I'm thinking about. And if they touch the kicker, that's the joke, right? Oh, penalty, 15 yards, goes the other way, right? So I knew that was a little bit of. I've been clocked a couple times illegally, and they got penalties for it. But I could never let that bother me. Another side thing of that was, given my situation and being in a coma before, I was a little bit more risk if I got clocked like that because I already had seizures from a head trauma. But the point being, I gave myself the opportunity, I went out and I did it, and I proved I could do it again. And my life has essentially been a series of challenges that I saw that were in front of me that I decided I'm going to do this anyway, despite what everybody else is telling me. Other than the people that encouraged me, my parents, a couple of my good friends. Thank God I had my parents. Some people don't have parents that encourage them. You know, that's tougher to deal with. But I'm telling you, whoever you are, you can accomplish anything if you just go for it. So I give the 4 points. I call it the 4 steps. Give yourself the resources, whatever that is, right? The resources are out there more than ever. It used to be the elite controlled all the information, right? Now the information is out there for anybody. You got to dig a little bit. You got to be willing to go get the information. Our Cuban says it's all ultimately going to be delivered to you. Whatever you need, they'll ultimately figure out what it is you like, you've signed up for. Google alerts are kind of that way right now, but ultimately it'll be pushed to you. But right now you still have to go out and get it. So get yourself the information. Figure out what it is that you've got to be the best at. Then go out and start doing it. Don't worry about it. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be done. It's going to change 5 times before you actually get out there. But if you're not doing it, you're not learning. Because you're going to make a mistake and another mistake and another mistake. None of them are deliberate. Sometimes it's just communication, misunderstanding, lack of experience or knowledge. But you're going to learn a lot more by doing it than you ever were thinking about it. And that's why my card I'll hand out to anybody that would like one. Says on the front of it. You can read that. What is it? Can you read what that says on the top there?
Dream and then chase your dreams.
Dream and then chase your dreams. So that's me on the field. You saw it on the screen up there, right? Kind of a fun photo. They said, get your promo shot, Carter. We're on the field here at Butch. Let's do this. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. I'm like, hold on. Right? So I did the pose, and I said, hey, that's kind of a neat photo. Talked to Dave Freeze. He said, man, you know you're the most photographed person at Bush Stadium, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Dave, I didn't know that. I haven't really studied that, but that's cool. I appreciate it. And so I said, you know what? I'll do this, and I'll hand them out to people. And so that's what it says. And I make kids and adults. I said, here's the deal. I'm going to sign this. I've got a pen. I sign this. I'm going to give it to you. Here's the deal. You just sign a contract. The contract says you got to do what it says on the front of the card. You lose the card, you can't return the contract to me. You have to do what the card says. If you want to get out of the contract, give me the card back. That's fine. I'll give it to somebody else. But that's the deal. I try to inspire. Because how many people go after whatever they want, but how many people just talk about it forever and never do it? So give yourself the resources. Go and do it, and then study what went right and study what went wrong. That's it. And then what do? That's step 3. Step 4, do it all over again. And you'll learn and go through the whole process. And that's why people argue Warren Buffett's the richest man in the world, because he never quits learning. Second richest. But that's it. That's the Cardinal Cowboy message. That's what we try to espouse. That's what I try to promote, because I feel as though I was so fortunate and blessed to come through what I made it through, that I'm being pretty selfish if I don't share what I've learned and try to inspire as many people as I can, because that ultimately makes me feel good.
All right. Well, thank you very much.